All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 403 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. We're going to have a somewhat of a continuation of last episode when we talked about Dean Pease, but it's not necessarily about him per se, but it's kind of like a branch to the next topic. For the most part, we're going to talk about more Atlanta Falcons football and the positive news that's coming out of training camp. I'm actually surprised at that. I'll give you my reasons why. And I want to know your guys' thoughts and opinions as well. If this is your first time here, welcome to the First and Frame Rate Show. Once again, I'm VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern Atlanta Falcons football. I am on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. So if you want to listen to the podcast at your leisure, you can go to any of those avenues and go from there. I don't want to hold up too much more with an intro or whatever case may be. I want to get right into this. I'm very, very surprised at this. I went on Google, for the past couple of days actually. So this is not nothing that I've just saw. So, ever since like late Sunday or like late Saturday or whatever case may be, I just been looking at Google and just looking at the topics that people national and local have been, putting out about the Atlanta Falcons. And it's just been a lot of positive news. Even with just recently with the Calvin Ridley situation and the Deshaun Watson thing, is nothing really bad about the whole situation. I mean, people are actually kind of siding with Calvin Ridley on this, obviously, but I really don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But when you look at some news, I mean, I'm talking about you can just Google Atlanta Falcons. And sometimes when you Google the Atlanta Falcons, you just see a bunch of negativity. Or the Falcons going to do this, Falcons going to do that. They can't do this. How are they going to be able to, overcome this or whatever the case may be? It's just a lot of negative. Like Atlanta sports in general has just been getting a bad rap for forever. I mean, but to see this going down the Google timeline, when you Google the name Atlanta Falcons, I'm just looking. I'm not going to pretty much give out like each article for what it is, but I'm just going to just read it. And if you want to see it for yourself, just type in Atlanta Falcons, you will see it. Like, this is one of the first things. What we learned from the Falcons training camp thus far. Training camp recap, day 5. Falcons training camp notebook. Grady Jarrett shines. Deion Jones update. Marcus Mariota in a good flow leading the Falcons offense. Falcons defense in a rude awakening, and that's based on the whole Dean Pease situation. Dean Pease defensive guru, Dean Pease determined to raise expectations. Do the Falcons think? Do they know you think that, and they're not happy about it? The Falcons hope newcomers to help reinvigorate rushing attack. How the Atlanta Falcons approach rallying from a salary cap disaster under Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith. Falcons rookie receive high praise from veterans. Arthur Smith pleased with Falcons' first padded practice. Flying around. Falcons linebacker Michael Walker camp update. Tyler Algier getting in the best shape of his career. Spotlight on Tyler Algier, Troy Anderson, and Marcus Mariota. Now, this is the first 1.5. This is like the first 1.5 page of Google. A lot of positive stuff. Now, this is the first negative thing I've seen. Falcons in a rude awakening without Matt Ryan. Now, this is the type of stuff I expect to see, that I usually see in the Google sphere when you Google the Atlanta Falcons, stuff like that. But I had to go through one page just to get the first negative thing about the Falcons. I'm going to keep going. Best decision I ever made. Quentin Bell's risky move. I guess I was talking about him to move the play for the Falcons. 3 Falcons who continue to be underrated. They talk about a Falcons signing here. Another thing about Dean Pease. I'm going to the third page and talk about Todd McClure jumping into the ring. I'm going to be a part of the Ring of Honor. Sports Illustrated, not to say I was going to name any names, but I'm going to put a name on this one. Sports Illustrated put up the video of the practice that had a fight at the training camp. Now, that's on page 3. This is on page 3. So this is very interesting that 3 pages in, going down the Google sphere, you finally see you only see 2 basically negative things about what the Falcons say. This is unreal. I'm serious. This is unreal. You don't. Before I continue down the list, because I'm gonna talk about, I want to give you my thoughts and opinions about this. I'm actually very shocked because the Atlanta Falcons, especially on a national level, when you talk about Google and stuff, you're going to see things on the national level, whether it be Sports Illustrated or any of these other places, ESPN, all this other stuff. You see a lot of this stuff, and it's like, I'm actually surprised that the Falcons are actually getting a lot of positive news. And to be honest with you, it's not all national. It's actually local stuff, which is nothing. I'm actually surprised that the local stuff is actually giving praise to the Falcons. Because, I mean, we never really seen that. I think the last time you seen something like this is like when we had the Super Bowl run. And even before that, we really didn't get this much love. So there's some excitement going on, not just in the media, but even with most fans. And I think a lot of fans are starting to pick up the pace and like really understand, like, hey, wait a minute. The Falcons actually may have something, especially once training camp has started. People are starting to focus and understand that, hey, something may be right. Something might be going on here. And this is one thing I wanted to say when I first started looking into this offseason. I wanted to give these guys a chance, especially after the season they had. We have to understand that we went 7-10 with a very mediocre, a highly, low grade team. We did not have a good team last year. We basically made it off, 2 guys that weren't supposed to be superstars on the team and a veteran elite quarterback. And I'll say he's elite. And these 2 guys that basically, Cordell Patterson and Kyle Pitts, they weren't supposed to be the guys that they were. Kyle Pitts, in my opinion, he went above expectations. When you really look at the situation when Calvin Ridley went out, I didn't expect, that for him to be as productive. To be honest, I didn't think that because there was a more focus on him. Cordell Patterson came in and did a little bit of everything. I don't think too many people saw that coming. So I walked away with this very surprised. So when all that happened in the year 2 coming, when these guys were able to walk in and put their fingerprints on this team, I was willing to give them a chance. And what they're doing now is actually pretty good. They talk about Madden ratings on the Google side of things. Doing what God brought me here to do. They're talking about Marlon Davidson. Let's see. They talk about the VP of Player Personnel, an interview with him. Like, a lot of this is local, but you have a few that are actually national news, like this one right here. Culture setter. Why former first-round linebacker Rashaan Evans chose the Falcons. Then they talk about Darian Daniels signing. Now I'm going to page number 4. And see, I didn't want to put this on the screen because I didn't want to, really, just go through this and just bore you guys. I mean, I'm just going through. You can Google it yourself. I mean, it's easy for me to do it, but, I kind of, put that up there last time. So let's go here. Drake London, Elijah Wilkinson, and Brian Edwards. So can't report on that. Personal staff changes. More stuff about Deshaun Watson. It's kind of starting to fall off a little bit. 5 days ago, where the Falcons rank in top 200 fantasy. Florida 24/7 Sports also says Florida Gator product Kyle Pitts sets new goal for Atlanta Falcons in year 2. Then they start talking about number 11. Don't really want to talk about that. Now we're going back for a week ago. Falcons training camp, watching the quarterbacks. Let's see. And I think that's pretty much, it's still pretty much kind of the rehash of everything that's what I just said. Falcons Madden ratings, and I mean, it's not Madden, but I'm pretty sure this you can talk about in real football. Terrell and Hayward, best cornerback duo. Camp battles for wide receiver number 3. I mean, I just thought this is like really, this is pretty neat. Just to see this type of, I ain't gonna say exposure, but just this type of, reporting put on the Falcons. I'm actually surprised because, if anybody knows, I know because I follow it, but I just been watching it because ever since training camp started, I just wanted to see what was the feedback from the media. What were they actually saying? Local and national news. Even though I just talked about in another episode about, I can't even remember the guy's name, saying that the Falcons had the 32nd worst roster in all of football. You can't tell that now once these guys actually moving around in training camp. You can't tell that because there's a lot of positive stuff. I'm really, really impressed with this. I can walk away with this and I'm actually, really surprised that this has happened. So I just like at the end of the day, you actually have to pull back and just say, hey, if the media thinks this, and you have the players think this, and you look at them how they conduct themselves at press conferences during training camp. Some of the interviews they have, I think Troy Anderson just had an interview not too long ago where he was saying like he's learning and he's having a good time. If you have a lot of players like that that's on the team, even though a fight did break out, okay, it's good to see guys scuffle like that. But you don't want it to happen, but you like to hear about it. But when you have guys having a good time and being physical and just like what Dean P says, not taking no for an answer, trying to be the best, get frustrated when things don't go right and want to be better and do better, you're going to change the culture of the team. And I think the media has been, kind of surprised. Even when I look at it on Twitter, I see a lot of people are actually saying how well this team is actually looking. It's actually surprising to see. But, at the end of the day, I'm really, really happy with this because I think, this is the first step of something that could be good. I'm not saying that the Falcons are going to be, 10, 11, 12 win team. I'm not saying that. But if you're going to start off on the right foot, this is the way to start, where guys that are in the media really can't say nothing bad about your team. Well, when you have, people that are naysayers don't have any fire or any ammunition to go at your team because it looks like it's all, for the most part, it's positive stuff. And it's really a good thing. You really can't, get any better than that. At the end of the day, I can't wait to see what the Falcons do. I'm just going to continue to watch and, I'm going to continue to report and give you my thoughts and opinions on all of this stuff. But I'm actually, surprised. Before I go, I want to say this. There's been a lot of good clips of the Falcons, offense and defensively. The receivers look really, really good. Also, you have some of the defense are playing really tight coverage. Marcus Mariota's look really, really sharp. And I know this is just training camp. You can't even, just like you say, it's just preseason. You can't really give a really good assessment. But like I said, if you want to start being good, it starts here. It starts with that. And I'm actually surprised with the clips that I've seen. Like some of these guys are actually looking pretty good out there. Some of these guys are working really hard out there. Some of the guys are actually taking this into, in taking this like for what it is and actually stepping their game up. Hell, you even had Felipe Franks catch a touchdown pass as a tight end. So it's going to be a really good time to continue to watch this and see how it is. Even you look at the Twitter feed. The Atlanta Falcons Twitter is like looking pretty good as well. It's just a good feeling at the end of the day. I don't have much else to say. I'm just actually surprised that there's a lot of good news coming out of training camp and a lot of good things that are happening with the Falcons. So I'm really, really excited, and hopefully this continues. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Subscribe to the podcast avenues just in case if the audio, the video side of the podcast is not up. I almost had a disaster the last episode, but it worked out and everything was up like it is. But just in case if one avenue don't go right, like say if Apple's not uploading fast enough, you can go to Spotify or vice versa. If any of the podcast avenues are acting up, jump over to YouTube or Rumble and vice versa. I just appreciate you guys. Share this content. Let people know what I'm doing over here. Just send it to your fellow Falcons fan, and they may not know anything about this podcast. send it to somebody who's our divisional rival. I mean, let them know what I'm doing over here, and we can continue to chop it up with the opposition, and maybe they can give us their 2 cents as well. Man, I want to thank you guys for all the support. You guys are amazing. Great feedback on episode 402, not only on the YouTube side, but the podcast side as well. Numbers are always looking good, but it's all thanks to you guys. You guys take the time out of your day to listen to what I got to say, and I cannot thank you guys enough. You guys enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Hopefully you guys take it easy. You guys be blessed, and I will see you guys on the next one. All right, y'all. Take it easy. Peace.